I agree. Being in Colorado, we have unbelievable natural training resources here. Tell us a little bit about training at altitude, how it affects you, how it mentally helps you in a fight.
Truthfully, being able to have the outdoors, go to the mountains, run at altitude, use our natural resources like you mentioned to our advantage. I haven't unfortunately had the opportunity to experience fighting out of state, but as Chris has fought in California, going from this high of an altitude down there, he's going to perform at a much higher level.
What does that do to your mind?
I think for somebody like Chris competing at the level he does, it probably doesn't do much because mentally his mind is so much further above everybody else's. But for somebody that's smaller and just starting to evolve like myself, knowing that I was going out there with probably going to have a lot better cardiovascular than the other guy because of the fact that I train at a higher altitude.
When you obviously know that going into a fight, the confidence level that you have going into a fight is night and day compared to somebody that's not training at sea level. How does that affect the fight itself in the early rounds, middle rounds, late rounds?
Again, like I said, the training that we get here, everybody's prepared regardless if it's at a higher or lower. I think that probably the mindset Mark gives us is that we don't want to think of it as an advantage, although it is. We're prepared either way.
Right.
So going in there, I think that that's probably one of the more important things is to differentiate whether do you feel more confident because your training level is higher, or is it because you feel like you had more advantages as far as where you trained, altitude and stuff?
I agree. Chris, you said that you grew up wrestling in first. I grew up wrestling too. That's why I asked you this question. Tell us about the mentality of a wrestler.
Well, wrestling practice was different than like any other sport. It's a lot like MMA, like the conditioning, the workouts. Wrestling in itself is full body. You're not just lifting weights or anything. You have to train for another person using all their force against you. And so starting out with that, learning those workouts, sprawling, shooting, it's a full body workout, and I still say wrestling is the most tiring part of the sport. It prepared me a little bit for that. You definitely have to be able to push through it. And we shoot for strength, but muscular endurance as well. I use football as an example all the time. They go for 4 seconds. They have to be able to throw, one solid force hit. We go for 15 minutes of, it's just longevity. You need to be able to go and build those muscles and endurance.
Okay, pal.
Late to the party, huh?
That's right. Troy Barron here, owner of Performance MMA. Got a little pro shop in here. Let's talk to you about how you feel the Colorado, I know you work with a lot of Colorado fighters. Let's talk about the difference in attitude, mentality, and camaraderie is the word I'm actually looking for in Colorado fighters.
Oh, wow.
Come on, Mr. Barron. Come on, man.
That's right, pal.
Come on, man.
I mean, I've got nothing but good things to say about all the fighters in Colorado. But honestly, really MMA and the fighters around the country, I really have the same good things to say about. Mm-hmm. I really love working with the Colorado guys because I'm here with them.
Sure.
Sure. I get a chance to train with them, hang out with guys and get to know them better. But the perception of MMA in general, I think anybody that was in my shoes that did get to see these people regularly would know that, like I said, around the country, it's just a super group of people, honestly.
I agree. And as a whole, guys, I'm going to kind of pan across, but as a whole, where do you guys think that the sport's going to go, let's say, in the next 10 years? I mean, do you think that we're going to end up seeing, high school clubs? Do you think that we're going to see, college scholarships for MMA? Do you think that we're going to see this in the Olympics eventually? Do you think that we're going to start seeing different leagues? I mean, is that something that you guys see like I do?
I think it'll be an Olympic sport. I don't know about in schools, maybe college. High school, I don't think so.
Why is that, though?
I mean, boxing's not in high school either.
Mm-hmm. You think it should be?
I would let my kid box in high school.
I would too.
It just depends on the parents, and I think it's still, as young kids, they still don't accept the fighting as sport, you know.
Well-
I think jiu-jitsu could end up being a high school or college sport for sure, but as far as striking, I think they just find it too dangerous still for young kids, you know, especially with a lot of the football issues coming up and
Right.
Head injuries and stuff. But I think we could see jiu-jitsu in college and high school and the Olympics before anything.
Mark, you're a parent. How dangerous do you see MMA training, Muay Thai training, wrestling training, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training, boxing training? You've seen it all. So would you be comfortable letting your child, let's say, join a club like that at a young age? Obviously, it's in a sense a biased opinion, but tell us a little bit about the safety. I mean, it's a huge thing for the parents.
Yeah,
now.
I think the safety is huge. To answer your question, absolutely. I mean, my son and my daughter, they're in this gym, obviously because I'm here, but they're in this gym daily, and they gravitate to the things you do, of course, but they love it. And I'll tell you, I talk to parents a lot because they ask me about safety and what it's like and what it's going to be like. And really what we say is, listen, we're not going to put these kids into an MMA fight the first day that they come into our program. We're going to teach them skills not to be a fighter. We're going to actually teach them skills on how to build your confidence, how to defend yourself if God forbid you had to. We're also going to help them with coordination, and all those things combined, will build a fighter if that's what they want to become. But that's not really my intention with kids ever. I'm not really there to build them as fighters. I'm just there to give them an outlet that I know I needed as a kid. I started boxing when I was young, and it's a quick funny story, but my mom said you can't box. I said okay, I'm gonna play basketball. Well, I really wasn't playing basketball. I was running to the boxing gym, and then it didn't dawn on me that I had to tell my mom, hey, I've got a boxing match and I need you to take me there. So fine, I had to tell my mom, hey, I'm boxing, but I wanted to do it. And I think if kids want to do it, they want to do it that bad, they're going to find a way to do it. So,
I agree with you.
In the safety aspect, I think it really comes down to,
Education, right?
Do it the right way.
absolutely, is have these guys, the people that are teaching them, teach them that, I don't want every really badass little kid to come in and think they're going to go and beat the other kid up at school. I want them to come in and really respect themselves, others, our school, and then in time, if they decide that they want to become a fighter, then they've established the skills to do that. But with that said, I think the safety issue is, for me, is kind of a non-issue. I'd love to see striking and all that in high school.
So would I. I just think it teaches people discipline, respect,
Absolutely.
and do you guys all agree that martial arts as a whole was founded on the principle of respect? I mean, that's where it all starts. You don't participate if you're not going to respect your opponent and yourself. So I think that one of the main things that we need to kind of stress here as kind of like a roundtable discussion is the discipline involved. Tell us a little bit about the discipline that you experience as a training fighter.
Like Mark had mentioned earlier, 6 days a week when you're training for a fight, anything. I mean, you sacrifice a lot. The commitment sometimes it hurts. It's hard because your body wants to give up, but if your commitment and your heart is in the sport, then you figure out a way to overcome that hill, and that's what it's about, pushing the bar and exceeding your limit mentally and physically. And Mark and Ian and Chris and everybody in here, we push each other as a team mentally. It's just I can't explain it. It's unless somebody physically went through the type of stuff we do, you couldn't understand the commitment it takes. I have a family as well. I have a 2-year-old little girl, and it's hard. I work 8 to 5. I get off. I go see her for an hour, and then I'm here. And then I'm here till 10:30 at night. And then I go home, get a few hours of sleep, and get up and do it all over again.
So another big component of training is sacrifice. Do you agree?